Yo, what's going on, E7 fam? I'm Sue, and today I want to talk about the July 3rd update patch that will be coming tonight after maintenance. It's probably the best patch all year outside of the Epic 7 Origin update, and I honestly can't believe that they decided to actually go with this patch this early. So if you haven't seen the news, you've been living under a rock. They are bringing back the Epic Dash Pass event from last year, which was easily the best part of 2024. They're bringing it back, and I expected them to do so considering how successful it was and how much buzz it generated for the game. But I expected it in September, after the 7th year anniversary. Instead, they decided to do it before the 7th year anniversary, so we'll be getting it tonight after maintenance, or so to speak. Like, it's in the game data after maintenance, but I believe you don't start to get everything from the Dash Pass event until Monday, which I believe is the 7th. Alright, so July 7th for Epic 7's 7th anniversary, haha, 7-7, 7th anniversary for a game named 7. So that's kind of where we're at as far as the Dash Pass goes and when it starts. And we'll talk more about that because it's all here in the notes, right, including the 1-minute summary. But I do want to take this time to really quickly point something out that I was a super big fan of. I mentioned it in my live reaction to everything when this was unveiled last Friday, and that is I want to give a shout out actually here to the CEO here, Kim Hyung-suk. Hopefully I said that correctly. Hopefully I didn't butcher the name. And then also we have our new content director here, Tak Kwang-jin. Again, apologies if I mispronounced your name. But yeah, I really love the fact that both of these guys were on stream, on camera, talking to the player base, because for so many years, right, it felt like radio silence. The last time we've had somebody directly face us from the super creative team was back during the Epic 7 Awaken event, which was before Sylvan Sage Vivian released. And that was a long time ago. Since then, the only time we ever see anyone on camera is when it's in an apology video like the Awakened Potential update, which was obviously a disaster. For a long time in the monthly meetings that myself and other content creators would have with the community managers, I would always implore them to kind of update the way that they do things, the way they interact with the community, because I play another game that I cover here from time to time on the channel, which is Goddess of Victory NIKKED, which is made by Shift Up. And Shift Up went from having a disastrous launch with NIKKED to being one of the top gachas in the world, and the way they did that was just through communication and listening to their players. They are very forward-facing, they always have people on camera, and it's like a breath of fresh air, and you can see it because you ask any player from any region around the world, the devs and their willingness to listen is why that game is doing so well. Ethereal Restart, the reason why it wasn't just dead on arrival is because the devs have been listening to feedback, and every time people have complaints, they make the changes. So having these guys here be present in front of us, talking to us, telling us their plans instead of radio silence like it's been for the last 2.5, 3 years, that is like a major thumbs up in my book. So I am super happy to see all that. And then this presentation was great. We'll be able to see all of the other stuff that we'll be getting. But yeah, I just wanted to give that shout out before we jump into what's actually in the patch notes here today. So starting after maintenance, we will get Argent Waves Hua Young. I've already done an impressions video on her. I will link it down in this video's description if you want to check that out. So I don't want to spend too much time talking about her. I've already spent 13 to 15 minutes talking about her in another video. Really stoked for this character. You guys already know Bystander Hua Young is one of my favorite characters to play since her release. I'm always a big fan of brawler type characters. Pretty much brawlers are number one, my favorite archetype of character. So Hua Young will always have a special place in my heart. So to see us get a summer variant of Hua Young and Moonlight Hua Young at that is a amazing change. I love the fact that we are willing to take a chance on a RGB limited version of an ML5 star, because ML5s are just too cost prohibitive for the vast majority of players. And Epic 7's character designs are just so good that players are going to want to try to collect all of them. So when they see a character design like a bystander Huayang and they can't afford it, this is a pretty good alternative. Being like, hey, you like that character, you like that character's design? Well, here is like an easier to obtain version of that character. That's awesome. And, you know, it's supposedly the side story that's going to be coming alongside of Argent Wave's Huayang will be a continuation of her Moonlight Theater story, which is, again, awesome because we have too many Moonlight Theater stories right now that are ongoing. We need to start wrapping some of those up. And if we're not going to do it in the Moonlight Theater, I would rather you just wrap it up in a side story rather than give me some like throwaway for an RGB that's underpowered that you're using to sell for some specific game mode, right? So I would much rather they do it this way. I think this is just overall a pretty good change. So Intense Tropical Days, this is the side story in question. We're going to be getting this. I will say, as an aside, this entire side story, everyone from Nadalon Academy seems kind of stacked. Just pointing that out there. Also, this thumbnail is just holy. Every time I see it, I'm like, you really made this your thumbnail? Was just, you know, here's Huayang's butt. I actually thought it was really funny. Dim Sum, who sometimes does profile cards, right? They make a lot of profile card art, like that's their primary content. They made their profile card. They made it from scratch. They recreated this thumbnail as their current RTA profile card, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. And it's even like animated with like the waves effects and the water effects. You could go check out Dim Sum if you have not already seen them. They're like a wizard when it comes to making these profile card arts. I'll link their Twitch down in the video description as well, so you can check them out. All right, so this whole thing goes on for an entire month, which is very, very good. Huayang, however, will not be available for the entire month. So do keep that in mind. She's only available, I believe, until the 17th of July. So you have 2 weeks to pick her up. Yeah, right here, as you can see. So make sure you do get her. I do think she is worth a pull. And that's largely because she is limited. But again, I think she's going to be a very fun and interesting unit. You can see here are the side story rewards. You're going to get the animated Huayang background, very similar to Lethe or Ocean Breeze Lulika, if you remember those. So there is going to be a background for Huayang. There's going to also be this new artifact here with the fish. I believe this is the Hanged Man to go along with all the other tarot cards. We'll talk more about that artifact in a second. You'll get some gold transmit stones. And then from the mini game, which I'm really excited about, you'll get a full set of gear. I'm a little annoyed that they reused Renak's collar as the icon for whatever this is. I think this is the necklace. They just like reused the same icon, I believe it is. And you'll also be able to get these chibi avatars and these emoticons for RTA as well as guild chat. So yeah, you can see here is Hanged Man. It's funny because the Hanged Man in this scenario is twofold. One, the fish, because it's hanging from the fishing rod. But I would say that if a character was to be the Hanged Man Arcana, it would be Huayang. For those of you guys who've never like delved into the Arcana or like never played at least the Persona games, as I understand it, the Hanged Man is somebody who despairs after some kind of great tragedy. So essentially Huayang lost the ability to use her arms, lost her ability to fight, so she despairs because it's like, well, I can only kick now, or I can't ride my motorcycle anymore, or whatever have you, right? So that's very in line with her character art, so I think that's pretty cool that they made the Hangman the card with Huayang. As for the effect, I'm not like super keen on it, right? So you get 10% critical hit chance, which is fine. And then at max rank, you get a 60% chance to get a critical hit damage buff for 1 turn. And the buff can't make you exceed 350 crit damage, so it's not going to really work for most like destruction set characters that are going to want to be building for high crit damage anyway, because they won't get full effect out of it. And it's little better than a coin flip. This to me suggests that it's just an artifact for newer players, people that are getting into the game with the Dash Pass set. It's going to be a fantastic option for you. But for veterans out there, you have way better options than this, I feel like, in almost every single class. So to me, I'm not super big on this one. But if you are, you can let me know what kind of practical uses you have for it down in the comment section below. More BGMs, always happy to see this. There's only like, I want to say, like maybe 50 tracks at Epic 7, and only like 10 or 15 of them are good, and I keep cycling through them in my in-game playlist for like every stream that I do. So having 2 more for the pile is always going to be a welcome thing, especially if they're actually good. So I'm pretty good about that. Now, the next thing here that I'm worried about is this Operation Summer Boot Camp. So we already talked about the management style of Shift Up earlier with NIKKED and how they're very forward facing, and I'm happy that SG is kind of following suit. But there's 2 other things that are like caught my eye about this whole thing. So one, for the anniversary, we are having an event where you can vote for your favorite character, and that character will get a limited skin with, you know, new animations, new voice lines, right? That's something that Shift Up does every year for their games, right? You will get to be able to vote for your favorite character. It gets a skin in that. And I'm like, that's cool. Also, for their anniversary event, they do a Vampire Survivors clone, which is what we're doing here. So like maybe they were taking the follow Shift Up a little bit too literally. That said, if you have never played a Survivors game, this genre is just like straight up addictive. You will be able to play it for hours. Like I have lost entire days to Vampire Survivors. When I was traveling for my sister's wedding, I brought my Steam Deck with me, and when I had downtime, it was just Vampire Survivors, and it made like all that downtime just go fly by, right? These games are just super addictive. I'm letting you know now. My worry is that Shift Up, their version of Vampire Survivors for the anniversary, that's probably the second best Vampire Survivors I've ever played, apart from the original, right? It is incredibly good. So I feel like that's the bar that gacha game players will be comparing this one to. And that's a high bar. So as long as it's not like god awful, I'll be happy because I just love this genre so much. But I'm really, really hoping that it's something like truly special, like, you know, one of the best side stories, best mini games that we've ever had. Because honestly, I think you know, I would love to see it. I would like to see this version of Survivors like trounce the NIKKED one. Like I'm holding my breath because that bar is just so high for quality. But in case you guys don't know how it works, essentially you'll start in the center of the screen at like level 1, and you'll use your keys on your keyboard, and all you basically do is you just walk around and you're just trying to dodge the hordes of people that are coming in. When you kill them, they drop some kind of currency. You pick up the currency, it levels you up once you get enough of it, and then you'll be presented with 3 random options of like weapons or kind of power-ups. You pick one, it enhances your character, maybe it makes their attacks a bit stronger or whatever have you. The game attacks automatically for you, so you don't actually press any buttons to attack. Essentially, like the character will have a projectile or some kind of melee move that'll be on a timer, like every 2 seconds, like Hwa-Young will kick or whatever. And then you can get extra different weapons, like she might have, as you can see here, there's like an inner tube. It'll like have inner tubes probably that spin around her and deal damage, right? That's kind of how these kinds of games work. You attack on intervals, and you could get power-ups to make the intervals shorter, so you attack faster, or make the projectiles bigger, do more damage, so on and so forth. It's like kind of like a dodge all the nonsense that's going to be on the screen and survive long enough to just get more power-ups. It's a very simplistic game loop, but it's surprisingly addictive. Yeah, you can see here are all of your choices. So you see there's a weapon here. Okay, so this green one, this is a power-up. It increases your critical hit chance. And then you can see these are the weapons here. So you have a wooden sword, strikes from above in the direction that they are facing. So whichever way Hwa-Young is looking, she will swing the sword every couple of seconds. And then this one actually is really funny. Block, so it's a Lego. You place a Lego and enemies take damage because they step on it. All right, this is actually a really, really funny weapon here. I actually really like this a lot. That they were like, yeah, you know what? What if we just have a Lego as a weapon in this? So it's going to be fun. And then obviously, once you fail, you'll get some number of gold coins based on how you did your performance. You'll get those coins and you'll be able to invest them in the various different characters to level up their abilities. Normally, the tech tree is a little bit more robust than this one. Normally, you have like multiple branching paths where it's just like, oh, well, I could spec into like, you know, stronger weapons or faster movement speed or things like that. So to see everybody just kind of have one track, a little disappointing. I would like to have seen it where there's like multiple things you can invest in rather than just here's 5. I'm hoping that it's not going to be like Brawl where the game is just hard, unplayable, unless you actually have everything fully invested in. Like there's only one real way to clear things. That would kind of suck. But yeah, again, I'm looking forward to this one. Oh, look. I didn't see this. You get summon currency from the mini game to roll the gacha. So we're putting a gacha in the gacha. Oh, and it looks like this is where you get the mini game, the items, the level 88 gear for this event. As you can see based on the graphic, you see the helmet, gloves, body, and you have the shoes, the backpack, and then the, I guess it's the belt or the collar, whichever have you, right? So all of this is here in this gacha. So that's cool. Again, super big fan of this style of game. Really looking forward to it. Next up, we got new exclusive equipment for Ahmed, as well as my greatest shame, Wandering Prince Sid. This is the character I think I've misevaluated the most in all of my time doing impressions videos here on the channel. I thought he would just completely ruin the game, and he was just straight up stone cold unplayable. Anyways, Ahmed gets 5 to 10 speed on the exclusive equipment, so you already know it's going to be ridiculously good. Hey, anytime a character gets 10 speed, we have to sit up, right? We have to sit up straight. We have to take notice, like, okay, this is a character that's probably going to be meta now because speed is just broken in the current state of the game. Well, maybe not so much now as it has been in the past, because Arunca kind of... You know what? Let's not get into that whole debacle. Anyways, so our choices now are Zephyr is the first one. Zephyr is actually Ahmed's basic attack skill. So when using Ahmed's basic attack, it increases the combat radius by additional 5%. So that'll make it like 20%, I believe, which brings it more in line with what is a modern combat readiness push in 2025 for Epic 7. Second one is again on the basic attack skill. When using a basic attack, the same effect applies to the ally with the highest combat radius, except for the caster, which is obviously very, very good. It turns Ahmed's S1 into Mediator Coeric's Retribution, which is still historically one of the strongest S1s in the entire game. Getting 15% for the user and 15% for the next person in line is very, very strong. Does open up things like counter set builds or like unity builds. So if you want to try like speed unity on Ahmed, assuming that you don't just outright win, this could be something to try. But I do think that the winner here is going to end up being Touch of Hope for anybody who's like very, very serious about playing Ahmed. Grants greater attack buff instead of attack buff to the target when using Touch of Hope. Ahmed's primarily a cleave/aggro character, so giving her a speed EE, which is roughly, I believe she's like 118 or 119 speed. A speed EE is worth roughly about 7 speed when base speed when it comes to the purposes of actually like figuring out how fast the character actually is. So it's kind of like the character feels like she's like 125 or 126 base speed now. I'm not exactly sure exactly what her base speed is, but previously it was really, really difficult to get Ahmed over 300 speed. Now I think it's pretty easy for a lot of players to get this character over 300 speed. So if you're looking for, you know, another aggressive opener to play for your playstyle, or you just want to go back to playing Ahmed, I do think that this exclusive equipment will make her see some play. It will also make it so that players are kind of forced now to have Red Politis geared again. But previously, I felt like Red Politis wasn't particularly very strong. Honestly, Green Celine's not very strong right now in the current state of the meta. So this is kind of nice because it does also force us to build characters that we haven't used in a while to be prepared for this. It does introduce more stuff to the meta. That said, I'm not like super in love with introducing another fast character to the meta, because right now the meta is going to be one of twofold. It's either the characters are just way too damn tanky because of Arunca, Ilinab, Cecilia, or games are just over in a flash because there's just way too much fast aggressive nonsense. Like, it feels like you can't play like anything in between that's kind of like a mid-range style. You're either all in glass cannon or you are just full on super tanky, you can't kill me. And I'm hoping that the August 16th announcement, which is when they teased a bunch of maybe potential game-changing things, like maybe potential nerfs being introduced, free unequip always. That stuff was all teased at the end of last Friday's stream. It's not guaranteed, it's not confirmed, but major changes will be announced on August 16th, and maybe whatever's in that will shake things up so that we don't have to deal with this Arunca / Renak meta that we've been in for like the last 2 months that honestly is kind of getting stale. So the next one here is Wandering Prince Sid, and I'm not going to pretend to know what the best one is for this because, again, this is the character I misevaluated the hardest in my entire history of doing impressions for this. So we got 16% effectiveness here on the Storyteller's Compass. That seems like it'd be pretty good for a debuffer. First one here is on Natural Storyteller. It increases the combat radius of the caster by 20% when using Continuous Strike. So essentially, when someone uses an AoE attack on your team, he procs Continuous Strike. So this is going to give him 20% combat radius when he uses that, in addition to the CR that he gives the next highest person on your team. So essentially, it allows him to bridge while also bridging another character on your team. Seems pretty good. Next one here, S2. Amplifies the combat radius, increase and decrease values of Continuous Strike by 10%. So it makes him a better bridge for one character as opposed to like an okay bridge for himself and another character. Seems good. And then Narrative Retcon decreases combat radius of all enemies by 15% when using his skill 3. It's another way to bridge. All three of these seem like they could be very good. I don't play the character. You guys have to let me know down in the comments below which one you think is the best. If I had to guess, I would say that the S2 one is probably the one that most people would play because that is a 20 CR swing for the one instance that you'd want to use him. But I could also see 50% CR pushback on the entire enemy team being pretty good as well, right? It doesn't seem like too bad of an option. It makes it kind of like closer to that Silverblade Araminta that I thought he was going to be originally. So maybe that's pretty good. All right, limited drop for Hua Young. This here also is another big thing to talk about. Other improvements and adjustments. They're adding a new set of items that you can purchase with, I believe, Sky Stones with this patch. So now there are 50 Malagoras in the shop for, I believe this is 500 Sky Stones. So you could spend 500 Sky Stones whenever you want to buy a Malagora. And there's a purchase limit of 50 of them. That said, along with the rest of the stuff that's here in this this shop, it feels like it's a little bit too much. This one I actually think is costed correctly. Wisdom's Gaze, that is going to be the exclusive equipment stuff. Sometimes you just can't get more of these in a week. So if you're in a hurry, being able to pay 150 Sky Stones to be able to pick up an exclusive equipment of for a character that you desperately need for like maybe Hall of Trials or some kind of PvE content, this is a good addition. But the rest of this stuff, especially these Mana Stones, it's just way, way, way overcosted. Like 900-ish Sky Stones is essentially the cost of a multi. So you mean to tell me that a Reminder Mana Stone is worth 20 summons? That feels like way overcosted, right? Especially because you could reset it and then the thing just still bricks because gear RNG is just abysmal in this game. So like until they massively reduce the gearing RNG in Epic 7, these are all just scams. Even for whales, I don't even think I would ever recommend these even for whales. They're just way, way, way overcosted. Malagoras are also, again, overcosted. These should be like 200 Sky Stones for a Malagora, right? And yes, and only having like a purchase limit of 50 per your entire account, I'm fine with that. When you think about this, this is 25,000 Sky Stones to buy out all of these Malagoras eventually. That is, give or take, you get the average player gets around 4,000 to 5,000 Sky Stones a month free to play. So like, if you just never used your Sky Stones for rolling for characters, it would take you basically half a year to buy this out. So like, if you just skip summoning all MLs, all limiteds, all new characters for half a year, you could buy these Malagoras. That's not a great rate, right? Not really a great rate. And then also they're adding these new event currencies, Twin Librarians bookmarks, which is for the summer event. These can be used in place of Covenant bookmarks. This is very similar to the Espa bookmarks that we had back in, I believe it was 2023 during the Espa collab. Essentially, it's a way for them to help newer players actually acquire the limited units. Like, it's just like, hey, here's some currency like on the side to help it make it easier to get these new limited units like your Hwa-Youngs or a Ram, all random, all mid, whatever her name is. That's going to be coming in the second part of the summer event. But this one here, this is new. Twin Librarians medal. Can be used in place of Mystic medals. Pretty excited about this. And also you can see the usage period is until October 9th, which suggests to me that they want this to carry over to be able to grab like Genesis Raz or whoever is after the newest version of Tenebria, which I did an impressions on her. If you haven't watched that, I will link that down in this video's description. She is not this week. She will be next week, but she will be added to the game data after maintenance. So you will be able to, I believe, view her starting post-maintenance by using the Mystic Summon. You'll go to the Mystic character, look at the previous for next week. You'll be able to see the character, all of her animations, voice lines, and so on and so forth, right? So yeah, that's pretty much everything. There's also this special pack here. You'll be getting 100 Mystic medals for logging in for 7 days, right? So if you log in for 7 days, basically the 7 days leading up to Tenebria, you'll be able to get all of these Mystics for free. So that hopefully will give you some extra kind of change in your pocket to hopefully get this Tenebria if she is a character that you're going to be trying to roll for. And yeah, that's pretty much everything. I'll probably be talking about this all again later on tonight in the maintenance cast alongside of Tristan Wolf. I think our guest for tonight is Spacebar Char, so please look forward to that. I will be streaming here on YouTube before the maintenance cast goes live, and then as always, we will raid in and merge into Tristan Wolf, right? So that way we're all kind of on the same stream, so it's like, you know, not splitting everything, and it's much easier to find everything. So yeah, hopefully I will see you there. One final thing, by the way, if you guys have not seen, there is a Stove Creators page where you could find not only Tristan Wolf here, right? You could find Anuo, myself, and others. But if you guys are not aware of this, this is like a hub that they have kind of made where you could follow your favorite creators, and it'll kind of just generate a feed where you can follow and see what the newest works are. So like, for example, if you click on Kana here, you can see it will show you Kana's newest video. So he has an ML Aria guide in case you want to go check that out. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that to your attention in case you guys haven't actually seen this page. I don't know if it'll really pop off, but it is a new feature. You know, I might start using it. I don't really know like what SG's plans actually are for it. But yeah, they're trying to like kind of get a curated feed of all of the E7 content, I think, here on this page. And they will be doing it for Chaos Zero Nightmare whenever it comes out. So if you want to check that out, again, I will link this along with everything else I mentioned here in this video down in the description. Anyways, I've been yapping for long enough at this point, almost a half hour. I'll catch you guys later tonight if you're there for the stream. As always, enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of the week, and I'll catch you in the next one. Later now.